When did she start looking like Kathy Bates from Misery?
Oh, she's fucking horrendous.
That is a icy
It's
fucking
all bloated
stare.
and fucking just...
She said Jay was selfish for not wanting her to host 1 out of 5 nights. Dude, I am literally speechless.
Yeah.
I have never heard such a delusional asshole.
It's amazing.
I guess Colin Quinn was selfish when he hosted Tough Crowd for not offering it to Norton on Fridays.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll agree
It's
with that.
shocking, but, to hold on so pathetically, so desperately, and to think that you have the right to do that in a franchise that's been on for 60 years, to a guy like Conan, who for 17 years worked for that company. I don't know, man. I think he's got balls, and not in a good way.
Yeah, but I bet so do you in a good way, physically. Yeah, Jay. Yeah,
what are you talking
Conan's
about?
been there for 17 years,
Right.
and that's great. But she's not saying 1 ounce of how Jay did the job. He was number 1, and then he shouldn't have wanted to leave when he was number 1, and how dumb it was to want the number 1 guy to leave. What the fuck is wrong with this woman?
So Conan, they basically say, okay, we're going to cancel his pathetically lame 10 p.m. show, right? Now, ever since Conan's been on the air, what has his lead-in been?
That's the other thing. He didn't have a chance.
If he had SUV...
But
you don't get a chance anymore, you dumb media fucking bitches.
But do you understand that thinking right there? He didn't have a chance. I agree. Conan did not have long enough. But why are they saying Leno's show is pathetically failed and not saying he didn't have a chance? You biased asshole. Can anybody look at anything fairly balanced? I am pro Leno, and I admit Conan did not have enough time to really get rolling.
SUV, Law and Order, and all of those things leading him in. He would not have the ratings issues that he has now. But you know what? They cut their own Achilles heel, NBC. They said 6 years ago, they're like, Leno's boring, which frankly...
Leno's boring.
He doesn't...
They didn't say that.
Yeah, that's what they said. He was number 1. They said he's boring.
They
Right.
didn't say that. They didn't think he could sustain the ratings in another 5 years. They never said he was boring, you stupid fuck.
And Rosie, no one's talking about your radio show, by the way. I asked somebody, when is she starting? And they're like, she started. There's no buzz.
So you want to talk about buzz, and you want to talk about a boring show. I don't see them talking about Rosie around the water coolers around here.
Nobody. Let's throw
Leno's
a watering
boring,
hole.
which
Then they're like, here
frankly,
she is.
Leno's boring.
He doesn't have a lot to add. He comes up and he does obvious jokes about nothing emotional. He's robotic. His humanity is not very present when you see it, right? You look at Conan and you're like, here's a smart guy who's taking risks, who's doing new things, who's got children and a life and a whole, I don't know.
Children. Could I
think
just
to myself,
step in
you
here?
fucking...
Her fucking idea of having any self-worth is that whole child thing. Like, because she, and it's been documented through the years, she said it herself, she's a manic-depressive mental disaster area who had to adopt children in order to feel complete as a human fucking being because she's got such a horrific self-image. So she's, like, analyzing anyone else?
And she's saying Conan's more of a complete person because he's got a marriage and he's got children, and I guess Jay doesn't have kids for whatever reason. Him and his wife didn't.
Yeah.
How about, here's something Jay has that you don't, a marriage that worked.
Yeah,
How about that?
Oh, shit.
How about that? Jay's in a fucking marriage that works, and you're not. So I guess you're not a complete or whole person.
Yeah.
Shut your fucking inconsistent mouth.
children and a life and a whole, I don't know. I just think to myself, Okay.
But you would think, I mean, a career is about reinvention. I mean, look at all
it has to be.
Exactly. All
Really?
the great careers are about reinvention, and that's what he's flatly refusing to do.
Ugh.
Career is not about reinvention. A career is about succeeding at what you do and loving what you do.
And sustaining.
And sustaining.
Which Jay was doing.
And if you
Right
want to
to the end.
reinvent, you reinvent. Seinfeld wanted to leave, so he left. Conan's not. How is Conan reinventing? He didn't change his show. From what I
And
heard.
not only that,
That's
when they tell you 6
sad.
years ago, like, they have to tell. They told Joe Namath at one point, guess what? We're going to have
Oh my God, a sports now.
She's just
this dummy.
the worst.
Yeah, I guess we were supposed to watch Joe Namath play into his 50s. Really?
Yeah,
It's
come
the
on.
same thing.
He was great on the
Dude, I
Rams.
have to
Really?
piss. So I can't.
I can't even breathe. I'm really
Can we
bad.
pause and just piss real quick and finish this?
If Rosie's in the bathroom, tell me
All
how
right,
big
you know what?
her cock is.
yeah, it's probably a nice. Can we just run and piss?
It's not a
Come
bad
back in
idea.
minute?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got a little more from
Take a
Rosie
break.
after
Yeah.
the break, and Nick Cannon's first day, Ricky
Yeah.
Gervais at the Golden Globes, Haiti. I don't know. Stay there.
example.
All right, back to the Rosie audio, talking about Leno and Conan, and of course making it about herself.
Does anybody understand, too, that Letterman has a bitterness towards Leno, I'm sure, because of what happened. But here's another reason Letterman may love the fact that Conan's there. He's beating him by 2 million people.
Yeah.
Of course. Who would want the guy that was number one? That's why everybody in late night wants Leno to fucking make like a tree and leave. Because he was dominating the entire scene at a very, very tough time to dominate the entire scene. All due respect to Carson, he never had to deal with a guy of Letterman status across the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the selfish comment just went right through all of us. Rich in Florida about the selfish comment. Rich?
Yeah, I got a question. They talk about selfish, and the only time I listen to watch Leno is when Jimmy's on it. So I don't really care about either one of them. But, hell, if anybody's selfish, it's damn Conan O'Brien. He had a great job in New York City. His kids were there. His wife's there. They're doing great. What does he do? He moves his family out to Los Angeles just so he can be an 11:35 slot.
I've been dipped in shit.
And again, I understand why Conan would want to do that.
Of course,
but if you want to play that angle, you got to play it both ways. Like you said, why didn't Jay just go do something else like that idiot Dan said? Why didn't Conan just go, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're both successful. Let's just keep riding this for another couple of years.
Yeah. And Pat in Cleveland, if Leno was so big, he should have told NBC to fuck off when they told him they were going to move him. In the end, Leno didn't have a choice.
Well, why would you?
His contract was up. Leno had no fucking choice.
Oh, he means at 10 o'clock.
And Jimmy's so biased. This is what this guy's saying. Jimmy's so biased. Leno's cheesy, even if he's number one. Set up, punchline, symbols, zing.
Yeah, how unhip to do setup and punchlines. Yeah, that's terrible for a late-night comic. Set up and punchlines. What is that asshole thinking?
But see...
Yeah, no, that's that hip thinking. Yo, man! Don't do punchlines, man! Shut up, stupid. Set up and punchline. He's a late-night comic. That's what he does.
Look, it might not be your cup of tea, but that's what was working for Leno to make him number one.
No, this guy's right. Fuck Leno. Set up punchline.
That means
why would he do that?
That means you're not watching, which is fine. But in the end, he was number one.
Nah, Jay should stare ahead ironically and nervously fidget during the, because a joke doesn't work. That's what he should do. Don't do set up punchline with brilliant joke writers. That's silly.
And then hit a gong. Change it up and just hit a gong after every punchline. Well, let's get back to the Rosie audio before we run out of time today.
Well, not only that, when they tell you 6
sad.
years ago, they have to tell. They told Joe Namath at one point, guess what? We're going to have another quarterback. Mm-hmm. But wait a minute. I'm the guy that threw that pass, huh? I'm the one who said we were going to win when nobody thought we could.
Could someone fucking send fucking Rosie O'Donnell footage of Joe Namath at the end of his career? It's so different. Joe Namath could barely walk.
Yeah.
He could barely walk. What are you talking about, fatso? It's totally different.
Yeah, nice analogy.
What, Michael Jordan was supposed to play well into his 40s and 50s? Really?
Actually, she was supposed to take over for Jordan on some of the games. But Jordan said no.
Yeah, Jordan didn't want to travel to Cleveland anymore, so he offered Rosie that gig.
Yeah, Rosie was going to
Rosie, you're going to be the starting guard for the Bulls.
So
because I don't want to go to cold Cleveland in the winter.
You know what? I guess Rosie's right. And Jordan was selfish for wanting to play as long as he did. Did the Chicago Bulls squeeze Michael Jordan out? He left when he was ready to leave. Did the fucking Bulls, you want to use sports analogies, stupid ass, did the fucking, how about Jeter? Hey, Jeter's been playing for a while. Here's what the Yankees should do.
Oh, yeah.
Derek, regardless of your stats, by the end of next year, we're putting this other guy who's a good player in your position. They didn't do that, Rosie, so why don't you use that analogy?
That's what I hear Rosie's taking over.
Well, Rosie's, obviously just not informed. If she was going with the freaking quarterback analogy, she would have had a little. She would have done better with the Brett Favre thing that kind of happened.
Quarterbacks.
Brett Favre really didn't want to retire, and he found another place to go.
Quarterbacks leave when they're usually no longer effective. Usually the athletes are the ones who don't want to leave, and they're no longer effective.
The stronger athlete.
Jay's an effective guy. That's a terrible analogy.
That's horrendous.
we were going to win when nobody thought we could, and then we did. I know, but guess what? You're too old now, and we're done with you. And really, football's not about you, Joe Namath. Really, it's football, and we got to get a new guy, and he's better. It's all right.
Yeah.
This is college radio. Who the fuck hired her? Holy
Really is.
shit, this is stupid. Oh, we did?
Does she not?
Pleasantries, Anthony. Nothing but pleasantries.
Pleasantries.
Oh, she's just using
Pleasantries. I'm a company guy.
Pleasantries.
Good for you.
So all you people that are bashing Leno, congratulations. This is the mentality you agree with. This blithering fat monster saying that Jay was selfish for not wanting to split 20% of the pie, as it were, with her.
Please give me Joe Namath's stats at the end of his career. It's going to be laughable.
No, that's a very accurate thing, too. That's a great thing.
Laughable.
Because the Yankees did say to Jeter, you got to leave.
Because you're still ignoring, Rosie, the fact that he was still on the top of his game, this Jay Leno.
How about this sports analogy, Rose? They let Joe Torre, as the Yankee manager, not win for 7 years before they finally cut him. They didn't cut him. Did they walk up to Joe Torre during his third World Series and go, regardless of what happens in 2 years, you got to step down, Joe. You're too old. We want to bring in Joe Girardi.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.